Thank you for watching this Bridgewater Now update. I'm John Locke. Last week's council meeting was pushing 3 hours, and a good amount of that time was focused on residents having to answer a question about a very familiar topic. On January 7th, as part of a special town election, residents will once again vote on a marijuana-related item. This question would permit the 2 medical marijuana treatment centers here in town to convert to a marijuana retailer. During Citizens Open Forum, a number of Bridgewater residents voiced their displeasure that the topic is once again up for debate and vote.
As a mom of children at the high school, I know firsthand all the issues there are, and having pot shops in this town will only add to it. It's hard enough being a parent today without elected officials sending the message that selling drugs in our town is an acceptable way to raise tax dollars.
I'm really upset because there's been a counselor who has been doing this for years. It's a personal agenda. I don't know many of you men up here well, but I can bet to say that you would not be bringing, any of you would not be continuously bringing that up. And I think it's because you have the knowledge, you know that it's addictive, and you know it's not good for our town, whatever way you want to put it.
Just because other municipalities, and in fact many areas of the country, have made marijuana readily available, does not mean that we should. I believe we should stand out as an example of a town or city that places the social, emotional, and physical health of its citizens, especially its young citizens, as the highest priority, thus taking a stand against a mind-altering drug.
Councillor Bill Wood brought up some figures to highlight what this could mean for Bridgewater financially using a 2021 press release from the Cannabis Control Commission. According to the handout, there are 194 retail shops in the state with over $1 billion in sales, and after the split among stores and local tax, it came out to just over $268,000 per store. And using that math hypothetically, that would mean that the 2 Bridgewater stores would be earning over $500,000. There appeared to be a moment of frustration from Council President Fred Chase, who was part of the Rules and Procedures Committee, which helped return the question back to the Council. Mr. Chase pointed out that there was not a lot of conversation in that meeting, which lasted for 12 minutes, and commented on the idea that he should recuse himself from the vote.
And first and foremost, let me say that I've received assurances from our town attorney, who is here this evening, to the effect that he is aware of no unusual steps, no impropriety, no conflict, as I think was alleged, represented by the fact that I was able to vote on the matter. Somehow there seemed to be a public perception among some that I should, I don't know, it wasn't spoken, but perhaps it was perceived that I should recuse myself in some form, that I should not participate in the vote because it was my measure. I'm a co-sponsor of the legislation. When we as councilors sit on any committee on which we may serve of the council, we have the full ability to promote and support legislation that we ourselves may have presented to the council.
Along with President Chase, Councillor Frank Sousa was a part of the meeting, and the councillor pointed out that there were only 2 members of the committee in attendance with differing opinions.
I'm sitting at a meeting. There's 3 people on the committee. 1 was unable to make it. So I'm there with the gentleman who is the president of the council, chairman of the committee, and co-sponsor of this ordinance. He's condemning me for not spending 3 hours trying to convince him to change his mind. But what did he do in those 12 minutes to try to get me to change my mind, because he knew I wasn't going to, and I knew he wasn't going to change his?
Councillor Sean George attempted to push this question back to the annual town election, which is scheduled for April, but the amendment was voted down by a 6-2 vote. The marijuana topic has appeared before voters a couple of times over the past few years, including in 2016 when voters cast a no vote in Bridgewater, but ultimately the question passed in the state by a 6-point margin. In April of 2021, there was a non-binding question on the ballot asking if people supported the retail sale of marijuana here in Bridgewater. That question had a yes vote, with only Precinct 2 having a razor-thin vote for no in an election that only had just over 10% voter turnout. During the conversation, there was a concern from Councillor Dennis Gallagher that this vote may appear confusing to people who vote in January.
I just think that this particular question does not solve the issue of medical or recreational marijuana in this town. This is a piece of legislation that is targeted, that is earmarked, and that is direct to benefit only a specific business in the community. If we're going to allow retail marijuana, my position is, let's allow it. Let the people vote that question, but that's not the question before the voters. They're going to think that it is. But we all know that the question before the voters is only to allow the medical facilities to convert, which, as I have said many times, the legislature is taking care of this issue, taking care of this language. We don't need to.
And you can watch the full discussion and the full meeting on Channel 22 and anytime on our website, btvaccess.com. Turning to sports, and historically, homecoming football games give teams a chance to flex their muscles in front of alumni, friends, and family, but it may be safe to say that nobody was expecting BSU to do what they did in their homecoming game. Homecoming 2022 for Bridgewater State taking place on a very rainy afternoon, but by the end of this game, anybody wearing red was not having their mood dampened. As we start in the first quarter, that's when James Cahoon connects with Jack McCarthy for a 42-yard connection to put the Bears up 7-0 pixels in all, as McCarthy takes his defender into the end zone with him. Bears up 14-0 still in the first quarter. Cahoon finding Dan Akinshea, and he goes untouched, taking this one to the house. Really, there was no defense played at all in this game by Fitchburg State, and the Bears would take a 28-0 lead into the second quarter. As you can see, the sold-out house at Swenson Field, Rathskeller and all celebrating. And this was just some type of scoring day for Bridgewater State. Not even 3 minutes into the second quarter, another Cahoon to McCarthy connection to go up 35-0. As James Cahoon had a day where he was virtually untouched in the pocket, and he knows it on the headset. They are telling his coaches that. As we're still in the second quarter now, Cahoon would set a BSU record for touchdown passes with 6, including this one to Jalen Kopecki, Atico's beast mode, taking the Falcons defense with him to the end zone from 35 yards out to put the Bears on top 42-0. And yes, we're still in the second quarter. Cahoon putting a capper on his afternoon with a 24-yard pass to Michael Nacera. Unfortunately, the PAT no good. Bears take a 48-0 lead into the half. Into the fourth quarter now, Bears up 76-0. Yes, 76 points by football team. And this is perhaps the running play of the day. Trevor Nunes will not be denied from 29 yards out to get into the end zone. Get out of the way, camera guy. Bears with a record-setting day, 82-0 over the Fitchburg State Falcons to celebrate another homecoming at BSU. The Bears set the school record for most points in a football game, along with the school record for most touchdowns. Cahoon was 9 of 12 for 199 yards, and as we mentioned, a record 6 touchdowns, while William Painter, Jack McCarthy, and Michael Nacera each had 2 touchdowns on the day. Having some fun here, crossing sports for a second, the 82 points scored by the football team was achieved 3 times by the men's basketball team last season. And the Bears hope to have some offense left when they take on Worcester State at Swenson Field this Saturday, followed by the final road games of the regular season against Westfield State and UMass Dartmouth. You can watch the replay of this historic game on Channel 9 and on btvaccess.com. On Saturday, just outside of our studio at Town River Landing, a farmers market will be taking place from 1 to 6 p.m. Local vendors will be on hand to help raise awareness about local business, the landing itself, and a great cause as well. Al Lacerda played a major role in the planning for the event, and he has more on what to expect from the day.
Hey everyone, Al here from Fire for Effect Foundation. For those of you who don't know who we are, we're a local veteran nonprofit 501c3 organization based right here in Bridgewater. We haven't been on social media lately, but that's because we've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. When we started this thing, we wanted to keep it local. But on top of keeping it local, we wanted to benefit not only the local veteran community, but the town of Bridgewater and its local businesses as well. So we thought, how can we do this? For those of you familiar with Bridgewater, you understand that there is a park here on Spring Street. It actually has a canoe launch that launches right into the river. So what's the problem with that? And why does not anybody know about it? Well, that's because it's kind of been neglected over the years. The idea is that we have a consistent event where we have local businesses coming down, and it's done every single Saturday. That's the long-term goal. The idea here is that local businesses can set up on Saturdays and they can benefit from bringing business into the town from outside of the town, while at the same time supporting a local nonprofit. Any profits that we make through the nonprofit go directly back into the town. And that means us supporting local town initiatives and supporting veterans' causes both in Bridgewater and in the surrounding areas. However, we had to solve some issues. Parking will be conducted by the public in the Spring Street lot. Thank you to BSU for that. You'll be able to park here, and then you'll be able to take the crosswalk directly across the street, across from Champion's Barber Shop, and you'll be able to go directly down the sidewalk and into the property where we're going to be having the events. This year, we're planning on having 2 events, one on October 8th and one on October 22nd. First step, revitalize the park. We're going to bring a whole crew in here. Not only are we going to clean up the existing park space, but next season, when we have these events consistently, we're going to maintain this park space throughout the season so the public can enjoy it. Not only that, but this event is going to make people aware of this park space, and hopefully they'll feel free to utilize it and maybe drop some canoes in and have a good time. We hope that you'll support this event. We hope that you'll take part in this event. If you're a local business or you're a local veteran organization or an organization in town, we'd love for you to be a part of this. There's going to be a lot of news coming out real soon about our intentions and what we plan on doing, but just keep these dates in mind. October 8th and October 22nd. It's going to be Saturdays. We're going to be having it from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you're a local farm that has produce, if you're a local farm that has meats, we'd love for you to be a part of this. We'd love for the public to be able to come down, get their local produce, get their local meats, support their local businesses. It's time that we bring events back to Bridgewater and give people a reason to come here.
Again, this takes place coming up this Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m. just outside of our studio at Town River Landing. And if you can't make the event, a second event will be held just a couple weeks later on October 22nd. And we thank you for watching this Bridgewater Now update. I'm John Locke.